I remember when you guys were the big story in our Super Bowl. Is she going to have it? Is she not? I was giving our sideline reporter who had your sideline, the Eagles sideline, the hardest time. I was like, do you have the route she's going to take? Like, if she goes into labor during the game, will you be there while she's in stirrups? Like,
the crazy part is the amount of orchestration that required on the back end. Like people saw the headlines and they were like, oh, Kylie brought her OBs to the game. Kylie had a conversation with the head of security, with an OB in Arizona that was recommended by some of the Cardinals families.
Please say Dom was in charge of a lot of this.
Of course, Dom is the one who connected me to the person I needed to speak to.
This is what doesn't this guy do?
There is not a way that I can express how much I love and respect Dom DeSandro.
Same. He showed up at our dinner on Saturday night. We were dying. It was great. He's an incredible human being. He says all the time, like, I do my absolute best not to have to bother Dom, but my husband and him are truly friends. And at this point, anything that happens, Dom will be like, your family. And I'm like, I love you so much. Your family.
I just love you so much.
He's the best.
But no, he connected me to who I needed to speak to in Arizona for security purposes and basically have like an escape route out of the stadium.
That is bananas.
It was so silly. Did
it ever get close? Did you ever feel a little pressure or anything?
I sat down a couple times because I was holding a child on top of my pregnant belly. Naturally. Sure. And also like the emotions are so high.
Oh my God.
That you can't even put into words. I still, when they played in Minnesota, I still remember Jason came out of the tunnel for warm-ups.
Yeah.
And I started crying.
Oh,
and I am not a crier. I don't, like, before I had children, they've ruined me. But before I had children, I wouldn't cry in front of you if you paid me.
You were Cameron Diaz on The Holiday?
Oh, I was just, it's not happening. You can't get me to break. I started full streaming tears down my face. It's just one of those emotions that you can't even explain what's happening and you're emotional about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Arizona game was an interesting one. And my OBs were right down the row from me. And every so often they would be like, Kylie, you doing okay? And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I forgot you were here for this purpose.
So they weren't sitting in the stadium with you?
Oh no, they were in the same row as me. They were with me.
And by the way, those are expensive tickets. Jesus.
We counted them into our 14 allotment. Okay. I love them on a level that I can't even explain. Like I've said it so many times at this point, but I experienced a loss before Wyatt at my 13-week appointment. There was no heartbeat.
Yeah.
I would not have made it through like trying to get pregnant, having that at loss. I wouldn't have been able to do it without my OBs. And it's so nice that even though I've had that experience, I still look forward to going to my OB appointments just to interact with them because I know that they truly care about myself and my well-being.
Yeah.
And obviously they care about baby in all of these situations, but it's always like they sit down, we'll chat. And it's not just, I've said this before, it's not just a me thing. Like I know so many people who go to their practice and they do it for everyone. And they're just incredible human beings. I love them so much.
My fertility doctor, that's the closest to an OB I had because obviously we had Mac via surrogate, but I was so like the amount of times I had to do IVF, was like, I've said this over and over 9 times. And it was getting to the point that I didn't want to be there anymore. I was like, I got it. Put my feet in the stirrups. I got it. I can do the ultrasound myself. But he was so good to me because he knew how obsessed I was with sports and how it would calm me down. So he's like, we're trying to see how many follicles and eggs I have and if anything would work. And I was like, how's it looking? I don't even want to know. And he goes, well, you got enough for a starting lineup. I'm like, okay, football or basketball? Which starting lineup are we talking about? Because that's 11
big
or
difference.
5, baby. So he was so good. Like he would talk to me, my uterus was like, all right, so here's the field. We're on the 20-yard line right now. Which way on the 20-yard? Like, what are we doing? So yeah. Now it matters so much when they can relate to you and like talk your language.
Good point, Erin. I'm not even sure what Erin just said because this is a pre-recorded message, but it's Erin Andrews, so I know it was brilliant. Thanks for watching this More Shit Monday exclusive. I'll be back with a new episode on Thursday.